So this yoga, Ashtanga yoga, the goal is super soul or Paramatma, and he's super soul, and he's the goal of the yogis, Matpara and Matchitta. Who is Paramatma? Paramatma is the localized aspect of Sri Krishna, is a plenary representation of Sri Krishna. He is Kshirodakshai Vishnu. He is Kshirodakshai Vishnu. And when devotee meditate within the heart, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, the same Sri Krishna, same Paramatma manifest as Tribhanga Lalita Sri Krishna, Shyama Sundar. So the goal of life is to know Krishna. So actually Srila Prabhupada will discuss the rest of the verse afterwards, but his focus is on the main words of the verse, Machitta and Matpara. So yoga practice, as I just told, that throughout all the purpose, Srila Prabhupada is comparing the Ashtanga yoga with Bhakti yoga and showing the superiority of the Bhakti yoga and easy practice of Bhakti yoga and highest goal of Bhakti yoga. And when it is, though this chapter is a Dhyana yoga, but Srila Prabhupada consider yoga actually means Bhakti yoga. The other are the only stepping stone to the climax of the Bhakti yoga. So one who has no program to realize the Vishnu Murti is usually engaged in mock yoga practice, imitation, and certainly wasting his time. Krishna is the ultimate goal of life, and the Vishnu Murti situated in one's heart is the object of yoga practice. To realize this Vishnu Murti within the heart, one has to observe complete abstinence from sex life. Now Prabhupada is coming to the brahmacharya. Therefore, one has to leave home and live alone in the secluded place, remaining seated as mentioned above, means verse 11-12. 11-12. Suchodeshe pratishthape sittamasnam achana. That's the verse. One cannot enjoy sex life daily at home or elsewhere and attend a so-called yoga class and thus become a yogi. Now Prabhupada is criticizing modern day Western yogis. Of course, now same thing is with the yoga practitioner in the India too. One has to practice controlling the mind. There is the main goal of the main object of yoga is to control the distracting mind. Chitta vritti nirodha yoga uchyate, Patanjali says. And avoiding all kinds of sense gratification, of which the sex life is the chief. In the rules of the celibacy written by the great sage Yagnavakya, it is said, the vow of brahmacharya is meant to help one completely abstain from the sex indulgence in work, word and mind. So this is the same thing, body, mind and words, all should abstain from thinking. All times, under all circumstances and in all places. This is yes.
Prabhuji?
Yes.
I have one question in this particular slide. So the first paragraph says that to realize this Vishnu Murti within the heart, one has to observe complete abstinence from sex life, and therefore one has to leave home and live alone in the secluded place, remaining seated as okay. Here somewhere while going through these questions, somewhere we read like we should not be in a secluded place. we should be with the association. And that's what Prabhupada says in some of the purports. How do I relate?
Yeah, that is a difference that if one goes alone if he is not mature and goes alone, then only he will think of sense. He will not be. This is for new devotees should never remain alone. He should always be in the association of devotees. So bhakti is always done with devotees, but the yoga they go alone, therefore they fall.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, that will come. I think that will come. Yeah.
And one more question I had, Prabhuji, is in the heart, it's in the 400 form, like the Vishnu, this thing.
Right.
So why not a 200 form, Krishna in the heart?
Because the material world, super soul is overseeing all the activities, because it's not Krishna's business direct. Creation, maintenance, everything is business of the super soul.
Okay. No, yeah. Perfect. Thanks, clear. Yeah. Correct.
Krishna is not directly involved in any activity. He is only directly involved with the devotees, not with anything, creation, other things. He is always in Goloka eva nivasti, akhila atma bhuto. So vow of brahmachari is meant to help one completely abstain from the sex, intelligence and work, word, mind, at all times, under all circumstances, in all places. Purport. No one can perform correct yoga practice through sex intelligence. Brahmachari is taught therefore from the childhood, when one has no knowledge of the sex life from age of 5. Komaram achareta yoga dharman bhagavatam iha. Children at the age of 5 are sent to the Gurukul, or a place of the spiritual master, and master train the young boys to strict discipline of becoming brahmacharis. Without such practice, no one can make advancement in any yoga, whether it is dhyan, gyan or bhakti. One who, however, follows the rules and regulations of married life, having a sexual relation only with his wife, and also that under regulation, is also called a brahmachari. It's called grasta brahmachari. Grasta brahmachari. Ek nari brahmachari. Such a restrained householder brahmachari may be accepted in the bhakti school. This is Prabhupada's very important statement. Such a restrained householder brahmachari may be accepted in bhakti school, but Gyan and Dhyan school do not even admit household brahmacharis. So in the process of Gyan, no householder is allowed. No, in yoga, no householder is allowed. They require complete abstinence without compromise. Gyan and Dhyan requires complete brahmacharya without compromise. In bhakti school, a householder brahmachari is allowed to control sex life, because the cult of bhakti is so powerful that one automatically loses sexual attraction. Being engaged in the superior service of the Lord, Bhagavad Gita says, Raso varjam raso apyana vartate. This is the verse. One who has to have the higher taste will not be indulged in lower taste. Higher taste is loving and serving Krishna, the beautiful Krishna, Shama Sundar. So these paragraphs are more important just to nullify the modern practice of yoga of the people, because yoga school never allowed anybody who is married and who has no control over sex. Whereas others are forced to restrain themselves from sense gratification. A devotee of the Lord automatically refrain because of superior taste. Others than the devotees, no one has any information of that superior taste. Vishya vinivarte kamaha nirvana Vishya Vinivartate Kamaha. Is the full verse there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
What is the verse? Go. Vishya Vinivarte Kama Nivartante.
Niraharasya Dehinaha Rasavarjam
Rasavarjam Rasoapyasya Param Drishtva Nivartate. Right, this is the verse. Now Prabhupada is coming to the word Vigid Bhihi. One cannot be fearless unless one is fully in Krishna consciousness. So one should be Vigat Bhi means free from fear. So only in Krishna consciousness one is fearless. Why? A conditioned soul is fearful due to the perverted memory. Due to his perverted memory. His forgetfulness of his eternal relationship with Krishna. The Bhagavatam 11:2-37 says, Bhayam dvetya abhiniveshataha syad ishad apetasya viprayo asamrtihi. Dvesh abhinivesh. Dvitya abhinivesh means we are absorbed in something other than Ishad, than God. And therefore we are Viprayo, just opposite. Krishna consciousness is the only basis for fearlessness. Therefore, perfect practice is possible for the person who is Krishna conscious. This verse is actually Prabhupada translated first and then gave the verse. A conditioned soul is brave, fearful due to perverted memory, Viprayayo Samrti. His forgetfulness of his relationship with Krishna, Ishad Dvaita Abhiniveshataha. There is the meaning is given earlier and then verse. Krishna consciousness is the only basis for fearlessness. Therefore, perfect practice is possible for a person who is Krishna conscious. And since the ultimate goal of yoga practice is to see Lord within, a Krishna conscious person is already the best of all yogis, because he is seeing Lord out in the deity and also in the heart. The principal yoga system mentioned here are different from those of a popular so-called yoga societies. Verse number 15. Yunyanevam sada atmanam yogi niyatamanasa shantim nirvan paramam mat sangstan madigacchati. Yunyanevam sada atmanam yogi niyatamanasa. Constantly engaging the mind in meditation. Yunjan evam sad atmanam. Atmanam means focusing the mind on the soul. Constantly engaging the mind in meditation. Because his consciousness is devoid of sense object, niyata manasa, he has controlled the rules and regulation of mind, withdrawing from the senses and sense object. The yogi attain adhigachati, he accomplish destruction of bondage, shantim, the platform where liberation and realization of the impersonal Brahm can be attained. This is, I think, Chakravarti Thakur's translation. Baldev Vidya Bhushan said, with unwavering consciousness, niyata manasa, offering his Atma daily, union evam sadatmanam, the yogi attain the additional bliss of siddhis, shantim nirvanam, which are dependent on me, mata sangstan. So there is a difference between the two translations of the Acharya. What is Srila Prabhupada's translation? Please read. Please read Srila Prabhupada's translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji Dandavatana. Thus, practicing constant control of the body, mind and activities, the mystic transcendentalist, his mind regulated, attains to kingdom of God or the abode of Krishna by cessation of material existence.
So, Srila Prabhupada has actually given the more devotional translation. Mad Sthanam means my place. Mat means my, Sansthanam means place. Adhigachati means attend. It means he will attend my abode. And Shantim Nirvana Paramam means he will be free from the suffering of the material world and peacefully attend my abode. How? When he practiced the Niyata Manasa, his mind and senses controlled and engaged always in the yoga. A mystic yogi, Prabhupada called mystic. Mystic means yogi. So Srila Prabhupada used the devotional translation of this verse. Baldev Vidyabhushan is asking question, what then happens to the person sitting in this manner? Means when he is sitting with a body, neck, head in a straight line, focusing the gaze on his own tip of nose, controlling brahmacharya, whatever. The yogi who daily, he does it every day, who daily offer his atma, means soul, who has unwavering consciousness because of purification for contact with me, Nitya Manasa, attend bliss Shantim. The Shruti says, Tameva viditva, Tameva viditva timrityum eti, knowing him one surpass death. Nirvana means liberation. Nirvana Paramam Shantim means the additional happiness. Paramam, additional. Shantim, happiness in liberation, Nirvana. Indicating the siddhis are supernatural power which are result of yoga. This is the Baldev Vidyabhushan's mood. Srila Prabhupada writes, the ultimate goal is in practicing yoga is now clearly explained. What is that? Mat Sthanam Adhigachati. Yoga practice is not meant for attaining any kind of material facility. It is to enable the cessation of all material existence, nirvana. One who seeks an improvement in health or aspire after material perfection is no yogi according to Bhagavad Gita. Nor does cessation of material existence entail one's entering into the void. There is a Shunyavad, which is only a myth. There is no void anywhere within the seriation of the Lord. Rather, the cessation of material action enables one to enter into the spiritual sky, the abode of the Lord. So, Srila Prabhupada negated two goals, the goal of Vayod and the goal of yoga siddhis or material facilities, but the real goal is the spiritual abode of the Lord. The abode of Lord is so clearly described in Bhagavad Gita as the place where there is no need of sun, moon or electricity. This is 15th chapter. Na tad bhāsyate suryo na sashanko na pavaka yadgatva na nivartanti tad dhama paramam mama. All the planets in the spiritual kingdom are self-illuminated like the sun in the material sky. Sun don't need any light. So in the spiritual world, every planet is self-illuminated. The kingdom of God is everywhere. But the spiritual sky and the planets thereof are called Paramdham, or superior abode. What Srila Prabhupada is saying, this material world is also kingdom of the Lord. But his spiritual kingdom and material kingdom are separate. Like government is also the controller and ruler of the prison house. But the capital city is different than the prison house. To consummate yoga means to complete yoga. Who is perfect in understanding Lord Krishna? The consummate yogi, perfect yogi. Who is perfect in understanding Lord Krishna. As is clearly stated herein by Lord himself, Mat Chitta Mat Para. Mat Sansthanam, 3 words in the 2 verses. can attain real peace and can ultimately reach his supreme abode Krishna Lok known as Golok Vrindavan. In the Brahma Samhita 5.37 it is clearly stated, Golok eva nivastya kilatma bhuto. The Lord, although residing always in his abode, called Golok, is all-pervading Brahma and the localized Paramatma, as well by the dint of superior spiritual energy. No one can reach the spiritual sky, Vaikuntha, or enter into the Lord's abode, Golok Vrindavan, without the proper understanding of Krishna and his plenary expansion Vishnu, which means different incarnation are the three Purusha which are meant for creation, Garbhodakshai, Kshirodakshai and Karunadakshai. Therefore, a person working in Krishna consciousness is perfect yogi, because he knows the all three Vishnus and he knows the Krishna is source of all three Vishnus. Because his mind is always absorbed in Krishna's activities, Savai Man Krishna Padara Vindayo. This is Amrish Maharaj. In Veda also, Svetashvara Upanishad, we learn Tameva Viditva Mrityumeti. One can overcome the path of birth and death only by understanding Tam Eva Viditva. Tam means Krishna or God. Eva means only, Viditva means knowing. By knowing only the Supreme Lord, one can go beyond birth and death, and that Supreme Lord is Krishna. In other words, perfection of yoga system is the attainment of freedom from material existence, nirvana, and not some magical jugglery or gymnastic feast to befool innocent people as the yogis do, so-called yogis. Verse 16. Nati ashantastu yogo asti na chaikantam anashantaha na chati swapan silasya jagarto naivacha Arjuna. Now about how to practice other things during yoga. Yoga is not possible of one who eats too much. Na ati ashantas. Na means not, ati means more, and ashant means eating. Or who does not eat, nacha ekantam anashantaha. One who is fasting completely, he cannot be yogi either. For one who sleeps too much, nacha ati swapan silasya, or does not sleep, O Arjun, jagarto nachaiva Arjun. So there are two things, not too much eating, not too much sleeping. Not too less eating, not too less sleeping. This is not favorable for yoga. Two verses describe restriction for a person practicing yoga. What are the rules and regulations for practicing? Regulation of diet and sleep, Prabhupada writes, is recommended herein for yogis. Too much eating means eating more than is required to keep the body and soul together, which is different for different people. Once somebody overheard Srila Prabhupada telling somebody, eat only, say, 2 chapati and dal or something like that. In early days, this message went in all the temples and every devotee was given only 2 chapati, something like that. So Jayanand Prabhu wrote to the Prabhupada, he said, I cannot disobey you, but 2 chapati is not filling my belly, I am too hungry and I am not able to work at all. He said, I never said like that. Who told you? Everybody has to eat as much as necessary for his maintenance and functioning of the body. So sometime this happened in ISKCON early days. And Jayanand was really eating double plate of prasad in his time. He said, this is only... And once the devotees were discussing amongst themselves that, oh, I have a cold, running nose, what you do? We say, I abstain from eating all the food. Others say, no, I will take hot water and some hot ginger tea. Then they ask Jayanand, what do you do? He say, I fill my belly with the hot halwa. Say, why? Say, all these bacteria, insect and virus, they will honor the prasad and leave me alone. So this was his jolly mood of the prasad. So, there's no need for a man to eat animals. Prabhupada is going, actually extra eating means eating beyond his jurisdiction of eating. Prabhupada is going in a different completely concept of overeating. Overeating means eating over our jurisdiction of grains and fruit and vegetable. There's no need for men to eat animal because there is an ample supply of grain, vegetable, fruits and milk. Such simple food stuff is considered to be in the mode of goodness according to Bhagavad Gita. Animal food is for those in the mode of ignorance. So Ati Prabhupada is actually taking it like eating flesh. Therefore, those who indulge in animal food, drinking, smoking and eating food which is not first offered to Krishna will suffer sinful reaction because of eating only polluted things. Stain eva bhunjati, 3rd chapter. They are thief, they are eating only sin. Bhunjate tev agam papam ye pachanti atma karanat. Anyone who eats for sense pleasure or cooks for himself, not offering to the God, eats only sin. One who eats sin and eats more than is allotted to him cannot execute perfect yoga. It means Srila Prabhupada is actually all the non-vegetarian people and who are practicing yoga are just mocking. It is best that one eat only the remnant of food offered to Krishna. A person Krishna conscious does not eat anything which is not first offered to Krishna. Therefore, only the Krishna conscious person can attain perfection and yoga practice. Now, Prabhupada deducted everything in this verse that Krishna conscious person is true yogi because he only eats the remnants of Krishna. That is very conducive for practice of yoga. All other eating are contrary to the practice of yoga. Nor can one who artificially abstain from eating manufacturing his own personal process of fasting practice yoga. Eating or manufacturing his own personal process of fasting. The Krishna conscious person observes fasting as it is recommended in the scripture Ekadashi, Janmashtami. He does not fast or eat more than is required, and he is thus competent to perform yoga practice. So Prabhupada is in every verse comparing yoga with Krishna consciousness. One who eats more than required will dream. Prabhupada says if he eats more, what will happen? Will dream means sleep. If he sleep, then he dream, much while sleeping. And he must consequently sleep more than is required. One should not sleep more than 6 hours daily. One who sleeps more than 6 hours out of 20 hours is certainly influenced by mode of ignorance. A person in mode of ignorance is lazy and prone to sleep a great deal. Such a person cannot perform yoga. Verse 17. Yukta ahara vyarasya yukta chestasya karamaso yukta swapano bodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. If one has regulated eating, regulated walking, recreation, yukta ahara vyarasya, going to the place of recreation, that should also be regulated. Regulated use of organs in both material and spiritual activities, yukta chestasya karmasu. Chestasya means endeavor. And yukt means regulated, karamsu means activities, both material and spiritual. Regulated sleep and regulated waking. His yoga destroy all suffering, dukkha. Extravagance in matter of eating, sleeping, defending and mating, the four propensity of a living entity, which are demands of the body, can block advancement in practice of yoga. Extravagance. As far eating is concerned, it can be regulated only when one is practiced to take and accept prasad, sanctified food. Lord Krishna is offered according to Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Ye Me Bhakti Prachati. Vegetable, flowers, fruits, grains and milk. In this way, a person in Krishna consciousness become automatically trained not to accept food not meant for human consumption or not in the category of goodness. As far as sleeping is concerned, a Krishna conscious person is always alert in discharge of his duties in Krishna consciousness, and therefore any unnecessary time spent sleeping is considered a great loss. Avaratha kalatvam, Prabhupada is coming to the, when you do the nectar of devotional study, the bhav bhakti is characterized by 9 characteristics. And the first characteristic is avaratha kalatvam, not wasting a moment. The Krishna conscious person cannot bear to pass a minute of his life without being engaged in service of Krishna. Therefore, his sleeping is kept to a minimum. Avairat kalatvam is one of the 9 symptoms of bhav bhakti. One who has achieved bhav bhakti, a ecstatic love of God, that is a very high stage. His idol is in this respect Srila Rupa Goswami. His means practitioners, who was always engaged in the service of Krishna and who could not sleep more than 2 hours a day, and sometimes not even that. Thakur Haridas would not even accept prasad, not even sleep for a moment without finishing his daily routine of chanting with his beads 300,000 names. As far as work is concerned, a Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not connected with Krishna's interest, and thus his work is always regulated and is unattained and untainted by sense gratification. Since there is no question of sense gratification, there is no material layer for a person in Krishna consciousness. Layer means player, or going to the unwanted parties and other things. And because he is regulated in all his work, speech, sleep, wakefulness and all other bodily activities, there is no material misery for him. Verse 18. Yada vinyatam chittam atmane eva vatishtate nispara sarva kamebhyo yuktiti uchyate tada. Yada and tada means when one achieves this, then he will attain this. When the controlled consciousness, tada vinyatam chittam. Chittam means consciousness. Vinyatam means controlled. Niyata. Vinyata. Specially controlled. Fix itself in the self alone. Atmane eva avatishtate. Focused on the soul. Free from desire for all objects of enjoyment. Nispraha means desire. Sarva kamebhyo, all enjoying. One is said to be perfect in yoga. Yukta iti uchyate tada. Yukta means yoga. Then he is called, he has perfected yoga. When will that person accomplish yoga? When the consciousness of the person practices yoga fully under control. always remain firmly situated only in his own Atma, and person is devoted to all, devoid of all desire other than Atma, the yoga is said to be complete. The activities of the yogi are distinguished from those of an ordinary person by his characteristic cessation from all kinds of material desires, of which the sex is the chief. A perfect yogi is so well disciplined in the activities of the mind that he can no longer be disturbed by any kind of material desire. This perfectional stage can automatically be attained by a person in Krishna consciousness comparison, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Savai Man Krishna Padar Vindayo. His all senses are automatically engaged in the ears in hearing katha, eyes in seeing the deities, legs in walking to the temple, hands in washing, cleaning the temple. This is what the whole verse is. This transcendental stage may be inexpressible subjectively by the follower of impersonal path. The yogis are mostly impersonalists generally at the ultimate end. So they cannot understand this transcendental stage of a devotee. They cannot express this. But it becomes very easy and practical for a person in Krishna consciousness because they are thinking of person Krishna. As is apparent in the above description of eagerness of Maharaj Ambrish. Maharaj Ambrish is the perfect yogi. Unless the mind is fixed on lotus feet of Lord by constant remembrance, such transcendental engagements are not practical. In the devotional service of Lord, therefore, these prescribed activities are called archana, or engaging all the senses in the service of the Lord. Archana means deity worship. So, as already I told today, I am reminding you, deity worship is the yoga practice with open eyes. What the yogis do with closed eyes to focus on the super soul, the devotee with the open eyes decorate the deity, and that is the yoga of a devotee. The senses and mind require engagement. Simple abnegation is not practical. Therefore, for people in general, especially those who are not in the renounced order of life, sannyasis, transcendental engagement of the senses and the mind as described above is the perfect process for transcendental achievement, which is called yukta in the Bhagavad Gita. So sannyasis, those who are not sannyasis, means completely free from the household life. For them, the easy practice of deity worship is perfect for practice of yoga. Verse 19. Yatha deepo nivatisto nengate sopma smrta yogino chitta yata chittasya yunjato yogamatmana. Motionless consciousness of a yogi. Yogino yat chittasya. Yat means controlled, motionless, and then the analogy is given. Engage in meditation on the self, yunjato yogam atmana, is considered exactly similar to flame, yatha deepo sa upama smrta. Upama means comparison, which does not move, being placed in a windless place. Like we used to have in olden days the laltin in the home for light. It is covered by glass, so there's no wind to shake, and the flame is not moving. So mind should be fixed like that. A truly Krishna conscious person, always absorbed in transcendence, in constant undisturbed meditation on his worshipable Lord, is as steady as a lamp in the windless place. How do we describe that perfect yogi? Another question. The flame in the windless place does not flicker but remain glowing. Those knowledgeable of yoga consider the flame to be exactly similar to the meditating yogi. The word upama, comparison, here stands for upamana, object of comparison. So yogi is compared to the flame. Yogi means mind of the yogi, or consciousness of the yogi is compared. So it's compared to the internal function of a yogi. Yat chitta, internal functions is stopped. Now we are going to the next bunch of the verses, 4 verses. Yatro paramate chittam nirudham yoga sevaya yatra chevatmatmanam pasyanatmani tushyati sukhamatintam yattad buddhi grahayamatindrayam veti yatra na chaivayam mistita chalati tatvata yam labdva cha param labham manyate nadikam tatah yasmin sthito na dukkhe na gurunapi vichalye tam vidyad dukh sanyogam yogam yoga sangjidam sanischyam yoktavyo yogo anirvan chetasah. Wherein the consciousness completely controlled. Yatra uparmate chittam. Uparmate means which is beyond disturbance. Become inactive by practice of yoga. Niruddham yoga seva. Niruddham means inactive. Wherein seeing the Paramatma with the aid of Paramatma. Yatra cha eva atmana atmanam pashyati. The yogi is satisfied in the self, atmani tushyati. Wherein he knows extreme bliss through spiritual intelligence. Veti atyantikam sukham yattad buddhi grahayam. But not through material senses, atindriyam. And wherein he does not move from his true spiritual nature. Yatra sthita ayam nacha eva tattvata chalati. Tattvata means truth. Chalati means move. Wherein he consider manyate, having obtained this yam labdva, labham labdva, nothing more can be attained thereafter. Aparam gurnapi, aparam na adhikam tata. And being so situated, yasmin sthita is not disturbed by the greatest calamity. Nacha gurnapi dukkhena vichalyet. No such a state, separated from all misery, tam vidyad, no, dukkha sanyoga viyogam, is free from misery. To be yoga, the yoga sanyitam. This yoga must be practiced with determination. So yogo nischya yoktavyo, devoid of depression and virna chetasa. So the more characteristic of one who practices the yoga. In the verse 16 and the verses following, the word yoga referred to being situated in samadhi. Chakravarti Pad writes, this is the stage of samadhi. Samadhi is of 2 types that Srila Prabhupada will describe for us. Sampragyat and asampragyat. Sampragyat samadhi has many types according to difference of suvichar and savitrak. Suvichar and savitrak. No, these are described in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. Sampragyat samadhi involves meditation on objects If the object is grass, it is called savitaraka. If the objects are subtle, that is called savichara. A sampragyat samadhi is meditation with no object at all. It means sometimes they have a flame, to focus on the flame is a object. Sometimes some point is a object. That is sampragyat samadhi. When the object, there is no outer object, only you meditate on the your own soul or super soul, then is asampragyat. This is the Patanjali Yoga. What asampragyat samadhi like? 3.5 verses answer that. Asampragyatam means focusing on not anything material, grass or subtle. In that samadhi, yogi seeing the Paramatma by the internal organ, Atma, which takes the form of Paramatma, is satisfied. The yogi sees the Atma by the internal organ in the form of Paramatma. Since the function of mind, etc., have stopped and Atma is not realized, the Paramatma must function as at this time to give him awareness of his self and Paramatma. In that state of samadhi, he then experiences extreme bliss, which is comprehended by intelligence in the form of soul, buddhaya, devoid of contact with material senses and sense objects. Note, since he has realized soul, it functions with its own intelligence, not material intelligence which has stopped. Then in that state, he does not move from true state of Atma, his true form, Tattvata. Then there is a story which Srila Prabhupada will give in the next story of determination of the sparrow getting the eggs from the ocean. Not able to do himself, but the Garuda helped. So that is the story given here by Chakravarti, which Srila Prabhupada will give in the next purport. By practice of yoga, one becomes gradually detached from material concepts. This is the primary characteristic of yoga principle. Chittavrti Nirodha. And after this, one becomes situated in trance, samadhi, which means that yogi realizes super soul through transcendental mind. Through transcendental mind, it means the material mind finishes. This is the mind which is within the soul. And intelligence, which is not material intelligence either, without any of the misgiving of identifying self with the super self. Still he knows Paramatma is separate than the soul. Yoga practice is more or less based on the principle of Patanjali system. Some unauthorized commentator try to identify the individual soul with the super soul. And the monists think that this impersonalist, Advaitvadi, monist is the exact word is Advaitvadi, to be liberation. But they do not understand the real purpose of Patanjali system of yoga. There is an acceptation of transcendental pleasure in Patanjali yoga. But the monists do not accept this transcendental pleasure out of fear of jeopardizing the theory of oneness. The duality of the knowledge and knower, one is knower and one is knowledge, is not accepted by the non-dualist. But in this verse, transcendental pleasure realized through transcendental senses is accepted. And this is corroborated by Patanjali Muni, the famous exponent of the yoga system. The great sage declared in this Yoga Sutra, Purusha Artha Shunyanam Gunanam Pratisprasha Kevalyam Swarupa Pratishta Va Chitta Shaktir Iti. Purusharat Shunyanam. He has stopped all his endeavors to zero. Gunanam of the material modes. Pratisprashva Kevalam. He is now in touch only with the spirit. Swarupa Pratishtha. He is now situated in his own constitution. Va Chitta Shakti Iti. And that is Chitta Shakti is the most important word. Internal energy. Chitta Shakti or internal potency is transcendental. Purusharth means material religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, dharma, artha, kam, moksha. And at the end, attempt to become one with the Supreme, that is moksha. This oneness with Supreme is called Kevalyam by monists. But according to Patanjali, this Kevalyam is an internal or transcendental potency by which the living entity becomes aware of his constitutional position. In the words of Lord Chaitanya, this state of affair is called Cheto Darpan Marjanam, or clearance of the impure mirror of the mind. This clearance is actually liberation or Bhav Mahadavagani Nirvapanam. The theory of Nirvana also preliminarily corresponds with this principle. Bhav Mahadavagani Nirvapanam. In Bhagavatam 2.10.6, this is called Swarupa Vivastitaha. That is the definition of Mukti in Bhagavatam. Swarupena Vivastitaha. Giving up other identification and being situated in his self constitutional position is called actually liberation. Anyatha Swarupam Tyajen Swarupa Vivastitaha. Bhagavad Gita also confirms the situation in this verse. After nirvana or material cessation, there is a manifestation of spiritual activities or devotional service to the Lord, known as Krishna consciousness. So after liberation, actually true bhakti starts. That is, Brahmbhuta prasanatmana sochati na kankshati samsarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. In the words of Bhagavatam, Swarupena Vivastita, this is the real life of living entity. Maya or illusion is the condition of spiritual life contaminated by material infection. Liberation from this material infection does not mean destruction of the original eternal position of the living entity. Only disease is removed, not the man is killed. Patanjali also accepts this by his word, Kevalyam Swarupa Pratishit Va Chitta Shakti Iti. This Chitta Shakti or transcendental pleasure is real life. This is confirmed in Vedanta Sutra, Anandmayo Abhyasat. This natural transcendental pleasure is the ultimate goal of yoga and is easily achieved by execution of devotional service or Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga will be vividly described in 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In the yoga system as described in this chapter, there are two kinds of samadhi called Sampragyat Samadhi and Ansampragyat Samadhi. When one becomes situated in transcendental position by various philosophical researches, he is said to have achieved Sampragyat Samadhi. Philosophical research means focusing on something, outer objects, as we have discussed, grass and subtle. In the Asampragyat Samadhi, which is the subject of this 3.5 verse, there is no longer any connection with mundane pleasure. For one is then transcended to all sort of happiness derived from the senses. When the yogi is once situated in that transcendental position, he is never shaken from it. So here the meditation is on the super soul. Unless the yogi is able to reach this position, he is unsuccessful. Today's so-called yoga practice, which involves various sense pleasure, is contradictory. A yogi indulged in sex and intoxication is a mockery. Even those yogis who are attracted by siddhis, perfection, in the process of yoga are not perfectly situated. If yogis are attracted by the byproduct of yoga, which is yoga siddhis, then they cannot attain the stage of perfection as is stated in this verse, means realize super soul and become blissful. Persons therefore indulging in the make-show practice of gymnastic feats and siddhis should know that the aim of yoga is lost in that way. The best practice of yoga in this age is Krishna consciousness, which is no befalling. Is not cheating. Krishna conscious person is so happy in this occupation that he does not aspire after any other happiness. There are many impediments, especially in this age of hypocrisy, to practicing Hatha Yoga, Dhyana Yoga or Jnana Yoga. But there is no such problem in executing Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. As long as the material body exists, one has to meet the demands of the body, namely eating, sleeping, defending and mating. But a person who is in pure Bhakti Yoga or in Krishna consciousness does not arouse the senses while meeting the demand of the body. Rather, he accepts the bare necessity of life, making the best use of bad bargain. Bad bargain is material body. The best use is to engage in Krishna's service and enjoy transcendental happiness in Krishna consciousness. He is callous towards incidental occurrences. Gurna api na vichalet, there is a word. When he is situated in his transcendental position, in his samadhi, in the service of Krishna consciousness, he is not distracted by anything. He has become indifferent to such accidents, disease, scarcity or even death of most dear relatives. This is going to happen. But he is always alert to execute his duties in Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga. Accident never deviate him from his duty. Gurunap tapina vichalyet. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 2:14, Agma payano anityastan titiksho bharat. He knows the dualities will come, so he is tolerant. He endures all such incidental occurrences because he knows that they come and go and do not affect his duties. In this way, he achieved the highest perfection and practice, yoga practice. This is the yogi. Verse 24 and 5. Sankalpa prabhavan kaman tyaktva sarvan aseshatah manasendriya gramam vinnamaya samantatah Shanai uparmed buddhya dhriti grahitaya atma sanstam mana kritva na kinchit api chintaye. Giving up completely, tyaktva aseshata. Aseshata means not leaving anything, complete. All sense object as well as impression arising from desires. Sarvan sankalp prabhavan kamans. Controlling all senses completely, indriya grama vinamya samantata. By the mind, mansa eva. By concentrated intelligence, buddhya dhriti grahitaya. Having the mind meditate on Atma, Atma sanstam manakritva. Gradually one should remain in samadhi. Shanai uparmed. One should then not think of anything at all except Atma. Na kinchit api chintayet. In the verse 24, the preliminary activities and initial stage of yoga are described. The final actions are described in verse 5. It means verse 4 is the beginning, verse 5 is culmination. Srila Prabhupada. The yoga practitioner should be determined. Now Prabhupada is actually commenting on the last word of the previous verse. Verse 23. What was the word? Nischayena. The yoga practitioner should be determined and should patiently prosecute the practice without deviation. These are the last lines of the verse 23. One should be sure of success at the end and pursue this course with great perseverance, not becoming discouraged if there is any delay in the attainment of the success. So Srila Prabhupada is still commenting on the verse 23. Success is sure for the rigid practitioner. Regarding Bhakti Yoga, Rupa Goswami says, Utsandharyad nisyadharyad tatat karma pratnat sangatyagat satovrti shadbir bhaktir prasidhyati. This is from the Nectar of Instruction. He must have three things as his attitude. He must have enthusiasm, firm conviction, and patience. And he must have three type of behavior. He must follow the rules and regulation of bhakti, tat karma pratnat. He should avoid the association of people who are not Krishna conscious, sangatyagat. Satovrti, follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas. That will help his devotion to be successful. As for determination, one should follow the example of his sparrow. See, still Prabhupada is speaking that story which was in a previous verse. Now this story you can read. The sparrow laid the eggs at the seashore and water has wiped out the eggs, and his sparrow was determined and with her beak trying to dry the ocean, which was not possible, but the Garuda, the king of the birds, ultimately chastised the ocean and got the eggs back. So the moral of this story is Garuda was very pleased by the determination of the small sparrow and he promised to help. Similarly, the practice of the yoga, especially Bhakti Yoga and Krishna consciousness, may appear to be very difficult job. But if anyone follow the principle with great determination, the Lord will surely help. For God help those who help themselves. So here, instead of Garuda, the one who is the master of Garuda will come and help. By proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease sense activity. This is called pratyahar. In the yoga it's called pratyahar. With proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease sense activities. It's called pratyahar, no accumulation of things. The mind being controlled by conviction, meditation and cessation from senses should be situated in samadhi. At that time, there is no longer any danger of becoming engaged in material conception of life. In other words, although one is involved with matter, as long as the material body exists, one should not think about sense gratification. One should think of no pleasure aside from pleasure of the Krishna's self. He should give pleasure to Krishna, not to himself. This state is easily attained by directly practicing Krishna consciousness. Rishikena Rishikesh Sevanam Bhaktir Uttama. Verse 26. Yato yato nischalati manas chalanchalam mistaram tatastato naimaitad atmane vasam nayeta. Restraining the fickle unsteady mind. Etad chanchalam aistram. Chanchalam filtering, aistram unsteady. Mana niyamya, one should control mind. Niyamya, restraining. For wherever it wanders, yato yato nischalati. The yogi, keeping it under control, make it obedient to self. Atmane ev vasam nayat. Mind should be under the control of soul. If sometime mind become disturbed by subtle sinful tendencies of the previous life, which are in the mind, he should withdraw the mind from those thoughts. Withdrawing the mind, namya is a pratyahar. From whichever object the mind approaches, the yogi should make it obedient to the Atma alone. Srila Prabhupada writes, nature of the mind is flickering and unsteady. But a self-realized yogi has to control the mind should not control him. One who controls the mind and therefore the senses as well is called Goswami or Swami. And one who is controlled by the mind is called Godas or the servant of the senses. A Goswami knows the standard of these sense happiness. A Goswami knows the standard of sense happiness. In transcendental sense happiness, the senses are engaged in the service of the Rishikesh, or the supreme owner of the senses, Krishna. Serving Krishna with purified senses is called Krishna consciousness. There is a way of bringing the senses under control. What is more, that is the highest perfection of the yoga practice. Verse 27. Prashantat prashant manasam hainam yoginam sukham uttamam upayati shanta rajasam brahma bhutam kalmasham. Supreme bliss comes from to the yogi. Evam yoginam sukham uttamam. Uttam sukha, the topmost supreme bliss. With mind fixed on the soul, prashanta manasam. Become devoid of passion, upayati shanta rajasam. Free of desire, akalmasham. And then directly experiencing Atma, Brahma Bhutam. The greatest happiness of realizing Atma, there are 8 distinct qualities of Brahma Bhuta stage. So you may write these 8 qualities of Brahma Bhuta stage. The soul is sinless, ageless, deathless, without grief, without hunger, without thirst, blissful, and fulfill his promises. These are the 4 characteristics of Brahma Bhuta stage. Sinless, ageless, deathless, without grief, without hunger, without thirst, blissful, and fulfill his promises. Brahma Bhuta is the state of being free from material contamination and secured in transcendental service of the Lord. Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param, that is the stage after Brahma Bhuta. One cannot remain in the duality of Brahma. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahma, the Absolute, until one's mind is fixed on the lotus feet of Lord. Savai Man Krishna Padara Vindayo. To be always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, or to remain in Krishna consciousness, is to be effectually liberated from the mode of passion and all material contamination. Verse 28. Yunyanayam sada atmanam yogi vigata kalmasha sukhena brahma sansprasham atyantam sukham ashnoti. Thus constantly experiencing Atma. Yunyan evam sada atmanam. The yogi free of sin, all sin. Yogi vigata kalmasha. Easily attain sukhen ashnoti. The unlimited bliss, atyantam sukham, of experiencing Paramatma, Brahma Sansprasham. Brahma Sansprasham means experiencing Paramatma. After directly realizing his own Atma, he then directly realized the Paramatma. Self-realization means realizing one's soul, means knowing one's constant position in relation to Supreme. The individual soul and part and parcel of Supreme, and his position is to render transcendental service to the Lord. That is self-realization. This transcendental contact with the Supreme is called Brahma Sansparsha. It means when the purified consciousness of the soul at the stage of Brahma Bhuta render the transcendental service to the Lord. That is called Brahma Bhuta, Brahma Sansparsha. Coming, purified soul coming in contact with the service of the Supreme. Verse 29. Sarvabhut Sitam Atmanam Sarvabhutani Chatmani Ikshate Yoga Yukta Atma Sarvatra Samadarshana. The yogi in perfect Samadhi Yoga Yukta Atma, who says Paramatma as equal to all, Sarvatra Samadarshana, realize Ikshate, the Paramatma as the controller of all living entities, Sarvabhut Sthitam Atmanam, and as the resting place of all living entities, Sarvabhutani Chatmani. This is Chakravarti Pad's translation. Baldev Vidyabhushan has a little difference. The yogi whose consciousness has become Brahma, Yog Yukta Atma, realizes Ikshate, Paramatma as the indweller of all living entities, Sarvabhut Sthitam Atmanam, and at the resting place of all living entities, Sarvabhutani Chatmani. He sees everything as Paramatma. Sarvatra Samdarshana. So the difference in the two Acharya is that one says Paramatma is seeing everything equally, and the other says soul is seeing everything equally as Paramatma. So what Srila Prabhupada writes, please read that and then we end today's class. Read Srila Prabhupada's translation.
May I, Prabhu?
Please.
A true yogi observes me in all beings and all sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere.
So he sees Paramatma everywhere. He sees everything is situated in Paramatma. Okay. A Krishna conscious yogi is perfect seer because he is Krishna, the Supreme, situated in everyone's heart as Super Soul. Ishwar Sar Bhutanam Hirdeshe Arjun Tishtati. The Lord in his Paramatma feature is situated within both the heart of the dog and heart of a Brahman. Prabhupada is thinking of 5th chapter. Brahmani Gavi Hastani Sunichaiva Sopakecha Pandita Samadarshana. The perfect yogi knows that the Lord is eternally transcendent and is not materially affected by his presence in either the dog or Brahman. That is the actually Samadrishti or equal vision. That is the supreme neutrality of the Lord. Lord is Samadrish. He will not discriminate between the lower and upper, higher, inferior or superior bodies. The individual soul is also situated in individual heart, but he is not present in all heart. There is a distinction between the individual soul and super soul. One who is not factually in the practice of yoga cannot see so clearly. A Krishna conscious person can see Krishna in the heart of both the believer and non-believer. In the Simriti Sattva Tantra 3.49, this is confirmed as follows. Atatvacha matratvat atma hi paramo harihi. The Lord, being the source of all being, is like the mother and the maintainer. As the mother is neutral to all different kind of children, the Supreme Father is also. So Lord is equal. Consequently, Super Soul is always in every living being. Outwardly also, every living being is situated in the energy of the Lord. They are situated in the Lord means in the energy of the Lord. As will be explained in 7th chapter, yes. The Lord has primarily two energies, the spiritual superior and the material inferior. So they are situated in the inferior energy, generally conditioned soul. And liberated souls are situated in internal energy. The living entity, although part of the supreme energy, is conditioned by the inferior energy. The living entity always in the Lord's energy. Every living entity is situated in Him in one way or other. One way in superior energy, other way in inferior energy. The yogi sees equally, because he sees that all living entities, although in the different situation, according to the result of fruitive work, in all circumstances remain the servant of God. So Prabhupada takes the soul sees with equal vision. While in the material energy, the living entities serve the material senses. And while in the spiritual energy, he serves the Supreme Lord directly. In either case, the living entity is the servant of God. This vision is the equality of equality is perfect in the person and Krishna consciousness. So I think we end it here. So now we have 17 verses left. I think 2 more classes. One class maybe we finish this, and one class we will discuss the yoga later. Hare Krishna. So next time we'll start from verse number 30.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, any question or comment?
Prabhuji had said after liberation the pure bhakti starts.
That is the Bhakti school's philosophy. The para bhakti start after the stage of Brahma Bhuta. It means the purified senses engages in the service of the Supreme Lord.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, in one of the purport, we read chitta means consciousness. Like it was there in one of the purport. Also, we are going through these questionnaires. There is a word called prajna. What is the meaning of prajna?
Pragya.
Yeah, pragya.
Pragya
What
is
is the meaning,
intelligence.
Prabhuji?
Pragya is intelligence. Sthita pragya. Pragya is intelligence.
Oh, okay. We thought it is the consciousness.
Now, pragya, generally the different stages of the intelligence are called, buddhi is called pragya. Buddhi, when it is more in contact with the, at least soul, it is called pragya. Pragya is the highest purified stage of the intelligence. But sometimes this chitta, heart, mind, they are interchangeably used by Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah. That ISKCON, that English, when it translated to Hindi, Krishna consciousness, Antarashtriya Krishna Prajna Santa.
No, not pragya. No, not pragya. Bhavana. Krishna Bhavana. Antarashtriya Krishna Bhavana. Chetana is translated as Bhavana. This word is from, I think, Srila Rupa Goswami's Krishna Bhavana, that Srila Prabhupada has taken as a Krishna consciousness. So all your questions which are closed book or open book are completed?
Yeah, we are going through Prabhuji now, a closed book. Open book, there is one question they are given, mood and vision of the Srila Prabhupada. So that we need to kind of write and then submit.
Which one?
The mood and vision of the Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
About which? About what?
So like we have to kind of understand what is the mood and vision of Srila Prabhupada and write in our own words.
I mean, the mood of mission about certain thing. It means in verse number, I think what you are saying is in chapter 5. In chapter 5, the what is called the peace formula. What is the mood and mission of Prabhupada regarding that topic?
This is about the preface, Prabhuji.
This is about?
Actually, the preface to the Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, in preface. Oh, in
Prabhuji, read the
preface.
whole question. It is read the whole question, Prabhuji. It's
correct.
mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada and how does it apply in ISKCON. So that is what is the whole question. So that comes in preface, Prabhuji.
Now, if it is in preface, then you have to focus on the preface, because mood and mission is in every chapter in some verses. So it is on preface.
It's on preface.
So then mood and mission and preface is Prabhupada is so humble that he says that this movement is started by Krishna himself. I have only credited that I am following my spiritual master. So it is humbleness and hopefulness of Krishna and mood, that if one person becomes Krishna conscious, I feel my work is successful. So there are many points you can draw from the mood and mission of Prabhupada in the preface. Yes.
So Prabhuji, when I was going through the preface, and I was going through the mock, they have given a mock open book assessment, which we should see what we should write and what we should not write. So in what we should write, they had given that we should start with, either we should divide the thing in paragraphs where we give the mood and mission, and also it is said that we should we should start generally with a reference. We should give Bhagavad Gita reference, this. So for mood and mission, Prabhuji, what reference, which shloka reference we should give?
No, if it applies,
Okay.
then you
Okay.
can give the reference. If there's no apply, it is not applied, then you may not give reference.
Okay.
Yeah, like Prabhupada has written in preface, we are simply carrying out the mission of Krishna.
Yes.
And the mission of Krishna is Man Mana Bhav Mad Bhakto.
Yes, correct.
It's like that.
Correct. Yes.
Then
So
the-
that reference we can give, no, Prabhuji?
Yeah, that is the reference is given there.
Correct.
And then Prabhupada says central point of Bhagavad Gita is, instead of serving one's own senses, one should serve the senses of Krishna. Krishna
Correct.
wants this, he demands this. And Krishna
Correct.
conscious movement is providing the facility for the people to take advantage and learn this science.
Correct. And Prabhuji, we should also add little bit about Mayavad, because in the preface that is also mentioned, like how Prabhupada said that how we should not follow the Mayavad philosophy, that Mayavad, that is also mentioned. So that also we should add.
If it is there and it has some,
Yes.
it has some message which Prabhupada wants to convey, then we can write.
Okay. And also we can write this point that how Srila Prabhupada does not want to take credit. In the end, we can end with the conclusion that how Srila Prabhupada does not want to take credit for anything, and how he wants that how even 1% of, even if one person becomes Krishna conscious,
So
then his mission.
what you
Yes.
write actually is the mood and mission of Prabhupada is that we should be instrument of the parampara, rather than
Okay.
take credit for ourselves.
Okay.
And we should be always hopeful that even one person become Krishna consciousness, our endeavor is successful. So Prabhupada is hopeful, and he is completely giving credit to the parampara rather than taking himself. So he is teaching us humility. So you use your own intelligence to find out from that. There's a lot more you can learn from that.
Okay.
I think
And,
two
Prabhuji,
more
so,
Saturday, right?
Yeah. So Prabhuji, one more thing, that now for this word pragya, we should write intelligence or buddhi, right?
Yeah,
We should
pragya
not
means
write
intelligence.
consciousness.
This is called sthit pragya, means fixed intelligence.
Okay, and just they are asking in the question just the meaning of pragya, so we should write it buddhi.
Yeah, pragya means fixed intelligence focused on. This is actually if you see second. This is a question of second chapter.
First chapter.
No,
Prabhuji.
not first chapter. It is second chapter.
Is it second? Okay.
Second chapter,
Okay.
Arjun asked the question, Sthit pragya ka bhasha samadhi sthit sa keshava, sthit
Okay.
kim prabhaset kim asit varjet kim. So he has asked many questions about the intelligence of person which is not carried out. So you read the verses,
Yes.
I think
So,
from
Prabhuji-
50.
Oh, okay. So Prabhuji, they have not asked the pragya. That is where we got confused. They have just asked pragya, meaning of pragya in the question.
Well, meaning of
They
the
have-
meaning of the pragya is intelligence.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all we should write, correct? Because they are asking just the meaning of pragya. Here we got little confused that we should write fixed intelligence or we should write pragya buddhi.
Actually, these are the different stages of buddhi. This stage of buddhi is a very advanced stage of buddhi. Is called pragya. You just write pragya as a word and find out the meaning. The meaning will come intelligence, a focused intelligence or a advanced intelligence.
Okay. When we found out Prabhuji, it came consciousness.
Pragya is not consciousness.
Yeah, it came consciousness. That is where we got little confused. We thought we'll ask you that what is the correct answer.
Now, pragya is intelligence. Sthit pragya. And this question must be in second.
Satyadama Prabhu, which is the first question? The first
This is a question from closed book assessment.
Close book assessments, I'm just trying to.
Second chapter.
Second chapter.
Yeah, it's from second chapter. I know it's from second chapter.
Yeah, but which shloka number they have given reference?
No. They are not given any reference.
But
for that.
this is a whole set of verses after 52. I think Arjun has a question and then the intelligence of person which is folks whose senses are controlled. These are sthit pragya. There are 4 questions about that.
Okay, so then we will just, because they've asked just pragya, we will write intelligence.
But I don't think this question will be only one word question.
Yeah, it is open. It's a closed book assessment, Prabhuji, where they have given us that we should. It's a closed book assessment where they have given us that we should write multiple choice answers. We have to tick the answers.
Oh, then
So
then it is intelligence. What is written?
Okay.
Yeah, if there are so many things written, then it is intelligence.
Okay. That's all we want.
Chit is a consciousness. Intelligence is pragya is intelligence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. There we got little confused. Yes.
Bhagavad Gita chapter 2. List Arjun's arguments not to find. Okay.
Yeah, it's a 2.54. Pragya, it's actually 2.54.
Give the English meaning of the phrase Prativyayana vidyate. There is this is simple. Okay, what is the meaning of the word pragya? This is say verse 2 to 54. Yes, verse is given. Yeah, you open the verse 24, say 54 and see the meaning will be intelligence. See, 2:54.
Which it says of one who is situated in fixed Krishna consciousness. Sthita pragya. Pragnasya.
तदा घंटा से 255 यदाते मोह कलिनम बुद्धिर व्यतितरस्ति तदा the word is from 54. I'm in 52. Okay. स्थित प्रज्ञा से का भाषा समाधि. So स्थित प्रज्ञा, one who is situated in fixed Krishna consciousness. One who is situated in fixed Krishna consciousness. What is the symptom of one whose consciousness is merged in transcendence? How does he speak and what is his language? There's a symptom of each and every man in his particular situation. Talking, walking, thinking. As man is symptom of... Yes, Srila Prabhupada has given the word Krishna consciousness. The symptom of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence.
So should we write transcendental consciousness for Pragya, Prabhuji, in the
I
answer?
think that is a right word.
Okay, so not buddhi, then means not write buddhi. But if they give the choice transcendental consciousness and buddhi, then what should we write, Prabhuji?
The prajat idakam sarvan padmanon atmanivano tasya tada pragya sudhata sthit pragya staduchyate. And here word Prabhupada is sthit pragya, transcendently situated.
In that 2.55, for sthit pragna it says transcendently situated.
Yeah.
Whereas in the 54 it says
Fixed in Krishna consciousness.
fixed in Krishna consciousness.
And then Dukya Anuvigdva Sukhe Savigrah Vitrag Bhayagra Sthir Dhi. Then in the 56 it says Sthir Dhi. Means Sthir Dhi, Prabhupada writes, whose mind is steady. And 57.
Prabhuji,
Perfect knowledge. In 57 it says pragna means perfect knowledge.
Prabhuji, in 58, pragna means conscious, Prabhu.
Consciousness.
Consciousness in 58. So it's interchangeably used. Looks like this word.
And what
depending
is
upon
the
the
meaning
context,
of the
depending
word
upon the context.
pragya? I think what is asked here is simply you have to write exactly word to word meaning given by Srila Prabhupada. In verse 24, pragya means fixed consciousness.
Sthita pragna means fixed consciousness. If you remove sthita, then pragna means consciousness.
Yeah, pragya means what Srila Prabhupada has written pragya. Pragya means fixed consciousness, transcendental intelligence. I think in 54 exactly what is actually the purpose of this giving question is that you exactly write the word which is written in the book. Because it is, if you read anywhere else, pragya means intelligence. But which intelligence? Transcendental intelligence. That's all right. But what we have to answer is exactly what Srila Prabhupada has given in the book. So you see what is the word to word for pragya and you write that will be the right answer.
Okay, fine. No problem.
Yeah. I mean generally fixed intelligence of a person who has his consciousness focused on Krishna. Actually, this is something, see, you have to write exactly the word which Srila Prabhupada has used, but for your understanding you start from verse number 52, where why Arjuna asking this question? Because one whose intelligence is not bewildered by flowery language of the Vedas. Can you see this word? What is the word used there? Based on that, Krishna is asking, or Arjuna is asking question. So what? Yadate moh kalim buddhi. The word is buddhi. Udhar hoga. Can you see the word 52? Yadate moh kalilim buddhi vyatitarishati tada gansad nirvodam shrutas. So when your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. So this is actually the Krishna using word buddhi, and Arjuna is asking question based on that. Say 53. Shruti viparinita yada istasi nishedat samadhav achala buddhi. So again buddhi. Samadhav achala buddhi. And Prabhupada writes achala buddhi, unflickering buddhi, intelligence. unflickering intelligence at the time of samadhi. Now coming the word 54. Sthit pragya, it means he is asking actually about the intelligence. Can you see really? Is it clear? Hare Krishna, are you still there?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
We are understanding.
Yeah, see, it is actually the word buddhi. Krishna is
Yes.
saying buddhi. For that, Arjuna has used the word sthit pragya, means fixed intelligence. And that fixed intelligence, Srila Prabhupada has translated, one who is situated in fixed Krishna consciousness. Fixed is a sthit and pragya is Krishna consciousness. So this is Prabhupada has taken liberty, as I am just telling throughout, that Prabhupada is taking the normal meaning into Krishna consciousness. So you have to write as per word to word, the meaning of pragya is Krishna consciousness. And it is in answer, it is, and then this question is asked based on the verse 52 and 53, where the Krishna has used the word intelligence. So you just become more precise about the answer. That will be nice. I mean, if I am the examiner, I will accept intelligence as a perfect answer.
Okay. So, Prabhuji, they will give us multiple choice in that. And
Yes.
we have to take the we have to mark it. It's a multiple choice.
I see, in multiple choice, if there is a mind, don't mark. If there is if there is no Krishna consciousness, if there is only intelligence or transcendental intelligence, then mark that. If there is Krishna consciousness and mind, senses, other, then you mark Krishna consciousness. So now you become more clear about this. That what
and
are
if there is intelligence and Krishna consciousness, what should we mark?
if there is a intelligence and Krishna consciousness, then you mark Krishna consciousness, because this is what is written in our book.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because then we have to follow exactly what Prabhupada has written.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
But
that
it's-
was our main doubt, that how
No, but I'm still there. The real answer is intelligence.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, Prabhuji.
yeah. But with the multiple choice, then you have to see really what are the words which are very close.
Okay.
Yeah. It may be all of the above like that. It may be, say, fixed consciousness, Krishna consciousness, fixed intelligence,
Correct.
focus mind. Then all of above is also right.
Correct. Fine. So we will now we got it. Now we will,
Yeah, you analyze
see
it
how-
from different
Yes.
angles, what they are asking. Okay, let's see.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Oh, these are the questions. I think most are multiple questions, right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Most are multiple choice questions.
That is good. So
Yes.
when the question paper come to you, they ask me to sit. I said I'm not interested. My just only teach. So you send me question. I'll see really. I will see
Okay.
when it comes.
Okay. These questions are there in our handbook, Prabhuji. The handbook which we got, all the questions till chapter 6 are there.
The questions are there, but answer.
Answers are not there. Prabhuji.
But the multiple choice are not there either.
No. That is also not there. Only questions are there.
No, there is question bank. It's called question bank.
Correct. Only that is given to us, but we don't have the right answer. So we are finding out and we are discussing among ourselves every day, because exam is coming up. So
What is the meaning of word kshatriya? Word kshatriya means one who protect from the injury. Kshati means injury, Tarya means protector. I am seeing what is the meaning of kshatriya in 231. Kshatriya is a word, but Kshatriya here must be one who protect. What, you have written something about this?
Yes, Prabhuji, we have also written.
What is it?
Yeah. Kshatriya means hurt. Shat means hurt. One who gives protection from harm is called Kshatriya.
The same word has come from, the word comes from chhata, which means umbrella, which protect us from the heat and rain. The word chhati and chhata are same.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one.
Okay.
Chhati, Kshatraya. Kshatraya.
So one who gives protection.
Right, one who
Basically.
gives protection from suffering, from hurt,
From
right.
harm. From harm.
From
yes.
harm, right.
Yes.
So this is
So
okay.
that is it.
All right. So anyway, when question paper comes, send me the copy. Let me see. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare
Okay.
Krishna. I think.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I ask one question?
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
Prabhuji, just now we were listening that after mukti, liberation, the real bhakti starts. So, may I know what is mukti, what is liberation, Prabhuji?
Mukti is a swarupa. We have discussed the mukti from the 2.10.6. Go and see the meaning of the mukti in second canto. I think 10th chapter, 6th verse. Prabhupada has given us. Giving up other identification and being situated in constant position is called mukti. Anyatha swarupa teje swarupa vasitam is called liberation.
Is it like, Prabhuji, getting known that they are the sevakas, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Krishna Bhakta?
Yes, no, Jivera Swarupa Krishna Nitya Das is actually mukti.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
right.
yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhu patitanam pavane